Yeah, man. Greetings, Rastafari, Haile Emperor, the King Selassie, the first, the perfect balance, Empress Menin. This is first man for Rastafari Indigenous Village, recognizing, accepting, promoting Lion Voice. Yes, the voice of Rastafari, speaking about Rastafari, educating Rastafari, preserving, protecting Rastafari. Give thanks.
Aye,
Yes,
Rastafari, mighty.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
Blessed love, this is Ras Sekou representing for the Lion Voice. Seeing? Yeah, man. Keep it locked right there, sir. On to Zion we go. Lion Voice don't move slow, no. Rastafari rules and reigns, and we're going where the blessings flow. Keep it locked right there, sir. Seeing? Ras Sekou said that. Lion's Voice.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Greetings, this is Junior Morgan of Bob Marley and the Wailers. The time has come for the lion to tell his story. And we have here the lion voice. So listen in and get nourishment for the stomach and for the head cup. Jah, Rastafari.
Rastafari. Give thanks.
Give thanks and praise every time.
Great honor, great honor.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
It's AWTITUDE representing for Lion's Voice. Yes, massive. This is the time for I and I, the lion, them to tell I and I story, our story. Yes, and we reign and rule like this. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, I reign and rule. You can't take the lion vibes, people. If you no fool, cause we know Selassie reign and rule. Reign and rule. Selassie, I reign and rule. Queen Omega drop them in the fire, pull from them, no Queen Omega, she reign and rule. Royal Kushite, ancient essence, Emperor Selassie in a majestical presence, flash of all events, projecting through I and I events. We sing a song for the king, we bring joy and blessing and understanding, yeah. We hear Jah every day, hey. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, reign and rule. Yes, I lion vibes, Selassie, reign and rule. Attitude say that. Boondocks, Black Organization of Global Diplomats optimizing expressions to the world. Till the world, till the end.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice.
Yeah. Rastafari. Emperor Haile Selassie the first. Tell the people about Empress Menin. Well, even if the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, well, to the coming war we stand tall. I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start ball, cause they see the city streets them flood. But when the hurricane blow down their wall, I'll be by your side and me nah budge. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every lifeline. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and after that light was a lifeline. It seems like the world is upside down. I will never hide, I'd rather stand my ground. Lion of Judah blessed with the triple crown. Can't come fool I with no circus clown. Now fear no hurricane or the cyclone. Respect for Mama Earth with that embedded on me bone. That's why I will never leave you alone. Protect you from harm when the alarm sound. So even when the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, to the coming war we stand tall. I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start ball, when they see their city streets them flood, when the hurricane blow down our wall, I'll be by your side, I mean I would. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. The Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your light was a lifeline. I think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. The Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your love was a lifeline. They say hurt people, maybe that's why Babylon them so evil. Maybe Babylon abused as a child.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bonsu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion's Voice. Welcome to Lion's Voice, and welcome to Reading Ras on the Frontline, our monthly series featuring the legendary Sekou Tafari, and our elder is going to be co-hosting with us today, and he has done something that I was not able to do without his strength, and have a legendary panel assembled. Two of these sisters I've known over a decade, and are seminal in my personal journey. So it's a great honor to have them on the platform for the first time. I'm very happy. And two other legendary sisters, one that you have seen before. So today's one is already an instant classic today. Before I bring forward the elder, let me first just big up Ramia King Design when I'm drinking from my water. You know what I mean? It's a Rastafari business. Big up Ras Lidge. Big up Wally King's Design. You see the logo. Big up Wally King's Design. Big up Frontline Books. Big up Brother Carl Philpotts. We have here the testimony of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, Defender of the Faith. So it's available on Amazon. Make sure you go and support one of our great elders, thinkers in Rastafari, Brother Carl Philpotts. And pick up all the sponsors who are rallying to rise Rastafari independent, non-aligned media. We are doing it. You know what I mean? We are doing it. It's not we are trying, we are doing it. And all of our monthly subscribers, Ubuntu, Lion Pride members, we just added brethren. So we'll be updating that. You know, all of the love and the outpouring. We just had a brethren join Lion Pride on Patreon. So the community that we're building, it's unprecedented and much appreciated of. Tomorrow, we're having our December town hall meeting. We're welcoming Ras Jr. from I Never Knew TV.
will be joining us. So it's not too late to become a monthly subscriber. We're going to have a master class on content creation. I Never Knew TV, over 700,000 subscribers. The brethren is full time doing Pan African work, and he has a formula branding. We're going to do a deep dive. So become a monthly member. These are part of the benefits. We're helping ones to build their creative ecosystem. Because if you have a product or service, you need a creative ecosystem. You know, the paradigm of commerce and trade is changing with the technology, but it's the greatest time ever to be alive as a content creator, no matter what that content is that you're creating, because we can come direct to the item, to our audience. So it's a beautiful time to be alive. All right, so housekeeping out of the way, let me bring forward our co-hosts for this event, the great and legendary Ras Sekou. Royal greetings, Ras Sekou.
Ras Kwasi, give
Yes,
thanks,
I.
give thanks for the day, give
Yes,
thanks for
I.
the strength, and give thanks for this hour.
Beautiful, beautiful. Before we bring forward this legendary panel that only the eye could assemble, I'm in awe, Ras Sekou. May I tell you right now, I'm in awe of the eye powers. What do you have to say? Why did you assemble this panel? What do you have to say about these legendary panelists before we bring them forward?
Well, I want to say that these beautiful Nubian African empresses and sisters and comrades of mine, long history, in different ways, but they are outstanding people in our community, and beyond that, everybody should know about and should know that the kind of works they are doing. So one of the things we were blessed naturally to be able to encounter being able to produce and help to produce and distribute and publish some of these works. So we are very grateful for these sisters. You know, they you know, woman is the forefront of the nation. You know, without women, the nation could never grow. You know, there's no future, because the women are the ones together with the man comes together to create that future, which is the young ones coming, and they're the ones who are going to replace us. They are the flowers, and so we are thankful for when you have progressive African women, you know, you have to continuously hail them and raise them above the sky. Yes, so you know, so we are thankful. They all have written authors and very solid in their respective fields of endeavors. So you know, so it just be my comrades and sisters and my friends and everything in terms of being able to communicate with sisters and on a behalf as human beings, we on the same level of being able to what we're trying to achieve, the whole concept of Pan-Africanism.
Yes,
You know, so
yes.
this is the ultimate. This is the
Well,
ultimate. So we are happy and glad for this day. A few days before we start into the new year. So you know, going forward with strength. But
yeah.
you know, the black, you know, a lot of brothers get caught up in going with women who are not do not look like their mothers, you know. But you know, we have to really encourage our young brothers that they must hold on and make sure when they go with a sister, and look like their mom. Very,
Yes,
very
I agree. And again, I just want to commend you. I'm honored that you've assembled this magnitude of a panel. Instant classic. We're going to bring forward these queen mothers. You know, all of them are queen mothers. I think we have to use them title there, but let us bring them forward and have them introduce themselves. Wow, I'm just elated and excited when I see a face like Sister Mitzi and the Lion Voice, you know. You know, say great things are going to be.
Thanks,
But
Ras.
give thanks, give thanks. So we are going to. I think we lost temporarily Dr. Desta. She's in Addis Ababa. It's almost midnight. So when she comes, we're gonna get right into her book, just in respect of her time.
Okay.
But we have
Mr.
here a
Could we start
royal.
off with Dr.
Go ahead.
Could we start off with Mama Mitzi?
No,
Are you,
no, no, Sekou. I would prefer not to because I'm going to have to go off camera for a minute.
Yes.
Short
okay, all
based
right.
on
Okay,
where I am.
beautiful.
Yes,
Beautiful.
and let us start with Mama Rakina, who is also in Ghana. We have two people reporting in from the continent, and there's a significant time difference. So
Yes,
we
yes,
want to be respectful of
agree.
their time. But I want everyone, but just quickly, can everyone introduce themselves and the name of the work that they are going to be talking about today? Because today is a spend money show too. You know, this is not just a pretty show. We want people to spend their money to buy these books today. So okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sister Rakina, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, there's a lot of static I'm hearing coming from whenever you speak, brother. So I think it's probably on my end.
Hold on. We're not hearing the eye clearly. Say again.
Lots of static coming from my end.
That is
Well, there's a lot of static. That's the Accra Wi-Fi there. Wi-Fi, the guy is international. Hold on 1 second. Royal greetings.
That's better.
Okay. Hold on. Try again. Try again. We're getting heavy feedback.
Yes. Hearing me now.
Try and exit and then come forward again. See if that works. In the meantime, Sister Aisha, can you introduce yourself and the book, and then we'll go to Sister Mitzi.
Yes, right. Greetings, all. Give thanks for the opportunity to be on the panel with such distinguished sisterins, legendary sisterins. I give thanks to my brethren as well. Enough respect, Brother Sekou and Kwasi. I
give
am
thanks and
former agriculture teacher, always a teacher, once a teacher, always a teacher. Are we hearing me?
Yes, we hear the eye clearly.
Okay. Yes.
We're hearing you.
A
We're hearing
mother,
you.
a
We're hearing you.
mentee, a mentor. That's right.
Greeting.
So again, are we all clear?
Oh, it seems like it's going in and out for the eye as well. All right. I want everyone to adjust their listening ear. This one might be a little challenging with the technology, but we're going to work through it. We're going to be patient. We're going to hold a vibration. We're going to be positive, and we're going to break through the Wi-Fi issue. Um, Sister Mitzi, can you introduce the yourself?
Yes, greetings, Dejazmatch Kwasi. Are you hearing me?
Yes, perfect.
All right. Greetings, Ras Sekou.
greetings, Sister Mitzi,
Greetings,
Mama Mitzi.
greetings, my sister Aisha. It's really an honor. You're talking about an honor. Dejazmatch Kwasi. It's an honor for
Yes,
me to be here sharing this space.
yes.
My sisters, considering that we're all kind of on the same path, it's really a pleasure being able to call myself a published author. I know that all of you are used to that, but I am just getting used to it. And
Mighty.
it's really an honor, because I'm Sister Mitzi Tafari. And I presently reside in Jamaica, and I say presently because I still consider myself in exile here. And always wanted to write. I've always been writing, always wanted to publish, especially children's books, because especially at a time like this, I want to be a part of a movement that continues to
Yes.
nurture a culture of reading with children.
Yes.
So, we have heard for many years now that books have been disappearing from homes. Children don't go to libraries anymore. So we want to be a part of this movement. So we're really honored to be here, as we said, I'm
Yes.
looking forward to a great evening.
Give thanks. Give thanks. Dr. Desta, Mama Desta, we're gonna go right into your segment. We know the time difference, so if I can just introduce the self, and we'll go right into the book, what it's about, the inspiration, and what it's what do you want the impact to be of the work.
Greetings and give thanks from Addis Ababa, and greetings, my sister Mitzi. Long
Great,
time.
greetings, Mama. Greetings.
Blessed love. So, yeah, well, I am a mother first and foremost, um, and one who Rastafari has guided and shaped my life for close to 5 decades. So, everything I do in that regard reflects my liberty and commitment to, as Sister Mitzi said, the children, passing on knowledge to the children, and again, just walking in the footsteps of the ancients, So that is it. Jurist, educated, creative consultant, but just here to serve.
Yes, and speak to us about the book that you wrote, because it's a seminal book, and it's a very needed book. But let the people know, what is the book and what was your inspiration for writing the book.
So this particular book that we're speaking about, as I've published several actually, but my pride and joy was to publish this with Ras Sekou and Frontline to really give it the exposure that it needed, and it's a primer. I'll just read what it says. I Love Locks is devoted to all children and honors the Pan-African and Rastafari parents and educators defending children's rights to attend school with natural hair. And so essentially, it is a picture book with keywords, though I consulted with two or three of my children who are educators regarding some of those elements, to not just make it a significant book for children, as it says, I love locks, to love themselves and for others to love children in their community with locks. Um, but to show children the beauty again through the illustrations, and parents even educating in the back with parent teachers guides how to walk children through and share this, because what I'm realizing more and more, which all of our books deal with at its basic level, is the issue of identity. So again, on a very small and entry level, we are introducing this notion of loving thyself through the concept or the manifestation of locks, as we call it, right? Nappy headed children. And so, yeah, we're really thankful again that Ras Sekou did this third print for us.
Give thanks. Give thanks.
Dejazmatch Kwasi.
Yes.
I kind of overlooked that part about introducing what the book was. Should I do it now or when you seal up with the other sisters?
Yeah, I'm gonna come forward to the eye, but I wanna
Fine.
just focus on Dr. Desta because her time and the
Okay,
time
sure.
difference.
Give
But
thanks.
everyone is gonna have their opportunity. We're gonna go deep. And again, family, we want people buy the book. If you look on your screen, you will see on the Frontline website. You'll see the interface, you see the artwork, you see the price there. So if you are able, please purchase the book, buy the book. It's very, very powerful work. um, by one of our legendary Rastafari matriarch, Pan African matriarch. You know what I mean? It's an amazing work. So, Ras Sekou, do I want to ask any questions?
Yes. Just want to say, I want to ask the question of this being such a excellent piece of work, especially for young girls and young boys, boy children, male and male children, and women children. So we want to say that basically is a very much needed work, and just wanted Mama Desta to indicate what I know she spoke about some of the things, but what really was the core of her wanting to author such a work.
Yeah, give thanks. Again, I'm going to read. Yeah, I want to recall the introduction that you did, DejKwasi, recognizing Ras Sekou for gathering us together. And indeed, when I got this, I was in the midst of a major meeting, really exhausted. Knew I was going to, but I said, well, if Ras Sekou asked, then the answer must be yes. So please
Really.
forgive me again at after midnight here in Addis. But reading again, I Love Locks is a children's primer book celebrating African heritage as expressed in the ancient natural hairstyle referred to as locks. And so my concern was about the lack of books featuring children of African ancestry, celebrating culture, including their natural hair, African attire, and other forms of heritage. But to go back to the personal side, my very first grandson, Dawit, inspired this book. The first print was self-published in 2010, and I think Dawit must have been about all of 5 years old at that time, and having a very dark-skinned, beautiful, chocolatey grandson with locks in America was of concern. And so I always feel it's our duty as parents. You know, many times we do complain about society, but if we decide that we are going to send our children into non-Rastafari, non-Pan-African institutions, then we have an obligation to inform, educate, and expose at its minimal. And so, what this book did was for me to be able to share it. Again, it was not cataloged as Frontline, has done in terms of its publishing. No, it's proper, as one would say, um, barcode and all. But the intent was to at least have something that parents, teachers, and children could experience. Further, as a Pan Africanist and looking at how culture is the underpinning of African society, all societies for that matter, but for us, those who have been carried away, our culture, which still exists in our genetic memory, is manifested every day, right? Whether we're in Savannah or Savlamar or Sao Paulo, it's right there. And so being here in Addis Ababa, the capital of the diplomatic capital of Africa, and as we know, the gift of Emperor Haile Selassie, the first to Africans in terms of steps towards African unity, the establishment of the AU. And so what we did, my daughter who attended FAMU number 3, Little Desta, transcribed the African Union anthem, and we placed that on the last internal page because can you imagine, that is one anthem, again, culture, singing can bring us all together. At least, when you're talking about words like let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation, let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. So this is in the back of this little children's book. And let me finally say that um, the second print of this book was a commission of 1,000 copies by the United Nations in celebration of the 70th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights, because we push this issue strongly. And Sister Mitzi was one of our co-conspirators, let's call it that, one of our strong comrades in Jamaica when we launched the book there. She facilitated everything for us there, you know. So it is a human rights issue. Secondly, the AU partnered with them in celebration of what was called the Maputo Protocol, which looks at the rights of women. And so this book ended up being not just a baby's book, but a talking point at the African Union, because many African ambassadors were now coming out and saying when they were selected for the post, one of the things that they were told is that they're going to have their hair pressed or in a quote unquote decent size, style when representing the country. So I'm saying all that to say that this little book with these few words, which has been quite understated until Ras Sekou really through Frontline gave it the visibility it deserved, is a simple but provocative book that I think, culturally speaking, can stand up to my first experience, and the only book I've seen about a nappy headed baby. Well, back in the day was Bell Hooks' Happy to Be Nappy. I think that was published in 1999. So, you know, children need to know at their very core in order to develop into strong, confident human beings. Because as Marcus Garvey shows us, right, with confidence, you win the race before you even start. So these are seeds that we as Rastafari have always sown and were sown within us through the principle of love. So this is indeed a gift of love. And we hope that for the Kwanzaa season, that, you know, and again, coming up also in January, that we would use this time to support Black business, certainly, but most of all, share this sweet book, because it really is a sweet book. The illustrations are done by my husband, Prince Merita Fessa, who is one of Ethiopia's leading fine artists. So, you know, each piece is just an original masterpiece and gem. And again, just thankful to be here. Give thanks.
Mightyful, mightyful. Um, the caliber of the work, I think, will speak for itself. Again, I just want to encourage the family to go to the website, the Frontline, DI Frontline. Let me just raise the banner and support. You know, let us circulate the Rastafari, the Pan African dollar. I know a lot of ones will see this on the replay. So we just want to encourage again. And these make great gifts, grandchildren, niece, nephew, son, daughter, you know what I mean? These make great gifts that you can send. And it's also a great table piece, a discussion piece, a renowned fine artist art. You'll have it there that you can admire. So definitely um, support the work. I want to ask, because this is not your first publication, Mama Desta. You know, that I pioneer some serious works within Rastafari from a publishing standpoint. Can you just speak quickly about some of the other works that you did prior to this work here?
Seen. Well, I think another important work, and you may have it in your catalog. I believe Idor purchased several, and it did sell out. Was Rastafari, the Majesty and the Movement catalog that was
Yeah.
published in 2014 as you know, a part of the Rastafari, the Majesty and the Movement exhibition that was done here in Addis Ababa by us Forest. There was also the Bridges International Art Collection. Art has been one of the most important ways to continue to speak to the issues that we're dealing with and also feed right into some of the work. There you go. Give thanks, give thanks. And so you know, this all feeds right into the reparations reasoning that is going on now at the African Union level. um our what belongs to us, these things need to be returned. So some of these things are addressed there. There's also recent catalog, my husband's 25th year retrospective, and the legacy book, the former AU chairperson, Dr. Nkosazana Shlamini Zuma, selected me to curate her book after her tenure was up at the AU. And of course, we know the red pages, I can never leave out the red pages. Rastafari Economic Development Director, Sister Mitzi smiling. She was there, part of it, right? So many ones. And that's the joy and the beauty, although, and I think I can speak for my sisters briefly when I say this, although we are so thankful to be honored by our brothers, by our families, because sometimes it is painful. You feel like you're just out there alone doing the work, and you just want a little, a little pat on the back, a little, yeah, man, and it does come. But frankly speaking, we know that we're not doing this alone because it would be impossible. It would be impossible for any human being. We're all mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers when you take into account ones like Nana Faraika. Um, and so that we're here together, it does give us that sense of strength to keep moving forward. So there are these several publications, and there's one that I'm working on now that's Rastafari pan futuristic that actually is being developed into a film, but it's just a very powerful story
Like
about us.
I like it. I like it. I just realized I know the eye over 20 years. I'm just trying to do the maths in my brain.
20.
Yes.
You were in law school.
Yeah,
You were
that's
a
exactly.
100 pounds lighter and big eyes, bright eyes.
You see, you see, I want people to know that there, a lot of people you haven't seen on this platform yet, where I mean our seminar. We're gonna continue to gently request, Mama Desta to come on the platform
Yeah,
so we get
yeah.
that history. The Bob Marley Africa Unite, she was seminal, the largest Rastafari event in Ethiopia since the coronation. May I tell you,
Of
it's
course,
some
yes,
serious, serious history that the eye has been a part of. So this book, just to bring it forward, I mean, this book is it's so important that we support with our dollars. We buy all kind of things out there in Babylon. We spend money all kind of ways, I mean, and this is one of the ways that we exercise our sovereign power by circulating, buying a Rastafari Pan African author from a Rastafari Pan African publisher, um, advertise on a Rastafari Pan African platform. So we're getting there, and I want everyone, at least 100 people, supposed to buy this book just from this broadcast. Please, don't tempt
yes.
us, you know what I mean? But Mama Desta, please also could this be turned into an animated film, or are there any plans to do anything else with this because you've created this important IP?
Yes.
What is your vision?
100%. But when it first came out, we had the characters in the book are so adorable and have their own in just a few words that we use, such as my brothers have locks, my sisters have locks. The brothers and sisters and the ones with the long locks and short locks, you see their face and you see these characters developing. So I don't know if you maybe, yeah, you probably would have been the tail end of the Fat Albert
Yes,
kind
yes,
of a series. So, this is kind of one of the things that we have in mind. It's just so much happening, that I do hope now that I'm entering sort of this genre of film, that, and also with AI, the use of
yes, yes.
African intelligence, which, okay, and artificial intelligence, will be able to do it a lot swifter, because, yeah, I have no fear for atomic energy. None of them can stop the time.
None of them, not one. So I love it because there's so many stories that we have to tell as Rastafari, as Pan African family. We can't make Walt Disney have to tell his stories them. And I mean, we have to be the authors of our narrative. So I love that you're thinking in that direction. And we're going to look out for that. This platform will be here for the eye to promote these things, and let the people know. Um, now, this just give us a synopsis. I know you might have touched on it earlier of the storyline of the book. Not giving away any spoilers or anything, but for those who are interested in the narrative, what is the ultimate storyline?
So I'm going again going to just read from the back because there's a parent teacher guide with
Oh,
suggested activities, which is a good synopsis, you know. I
okay.
Love Locks is a story about a child who loves his hair and his culture. Locks, sometimes spelled LOCS, are tightly bound coils, so we describe what it is. And although locks have been associated with Rastafari since the 1960s, wearing locks is an age old African tradition. Locks historically represented or symbolized one's place in society within all five regions of Africa, whether it be Egypt, Ethiopia, Gabon, Kenya, Rwanda, etc., etc. Over the past 60 years, locks and other natural African hairstyles have become popular in the sixth region of Africa, areas and outside the continent where African descendants reside. This includes Caribbean, North America. So again, we're giving a child a sense of even geography here or an opportunity, right? So this book is a transformational tool for children and adults alike concerned about the inclusion and recognition of African culture and heritage in formal education systems and society at large. Therefore, it would be a holistic educational environment where the reflection of a child's native culture inherently promotes active learning. The book, which includes brilliantly painted images of African children, family members, because it's intergenerational.
Yes,
There's mom
yes.
and grandparents, yeah, and other African hairstyles, is an essential resource to raise awareness and acceptance of one's right to cultural expression. And then, as I said, we have the activities there. So, again, in essence, this is about the little boy, Dawit, who loves locks and he's proud to share his little story about his siblings, and grandparents and family and how we roll, right?
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Um, are you there, Mama Desta?
Yes, I am there. I'm here.
Okay. Okay. How are locks viewed in Ethiopia? I have so much things I want to talk, but I'm gonna be respectful of your time. I know it's late. Because we hear that Ethiopia gone past Dubai and Addis Ababa. You know, we are watch from the west, and them say, oh, Dubai are try catch up with Addis right now to hold the vibration. But how are locks viewed in modern Ethiopia now?
Well, what we learned, some of the post information and impact after the 2005 Africa Unite Bob Marley's 60th event was that it really did open up there was a major shift where natties began to flow frequently, and so it is here now as a standard, hairstyle. It's no longer really looked at sideways, notwithstanding what they call the professions, right? So you don't see the typical ones in banks or what have you, as you would in the United States,
Yes.
or in law enforcement, anything like that. But on the street, it's not unusual to see that side.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And we know that the rest will come in time, So it's
Well, this is it, and I do believe we have a couple of activities planned. As you all may know, every February the Africa Union holds its summit here, where all the heads of state of the 55 nations gather, and what will be launched is the decade of reparations. Last year was the year of reparations, and so tools like I Love Locks funny enough, help children understand what their place is in all of this, because it was colonialism and slavery that robbed us, right, from this identity and this notion of beauty within the context of our own culture. So I Love Locks again sows these seeds within a baby and their counterparts. Because imagine, I've sold, I would say maybe 20% of the sales that we've done with the books in previous prints were to non-Africans.
Okay.
They thought it was a beautiful book, not just the illustrations, but the message. And again, who is against love? So yeah, it is a, and this is the thing about art and literature. It has a place in history beyond just a commercial or esoteric value. It really marks the time and space and circumstance. And so we would hope that 100 years from now, one picking up this book and reading I Love Locks overstands where we were, because within that time now, 100 years from now, children should not be blocked from going to school. There shouldn't be the consideration of a Crown Act in the United States, or again in Jamaica, the incubator of Rastafari, where children still either get the side eye or expulsion or suspension for the wearing of locks. So again, we hope it is one tool at a very early level um, that we can use to edify ourselves and strengthen our position that culture must be free. I culture and the restoration of our identity through these cultural practices and forms, um, exampled by Rastafari, yeah, need to be protected, promoted, and celebrated.
Yes, very, very crucial sounds. And again, we just give thanks that I took the time and had the vision to, something which may seem basic to a lot of ones, but we have to overstand for a lot of ones. There's still a lot of ignorance surrounding locks. And it's always good to start with the young people, the children, so that they have a positive interaction with the information at the early
Yes.
stage. So we really give thanks for the eye. Before I switch to another panelist, just give us, as someone who has been in Addis for some time, from a Rastafari matriarchal perspective, we're watching the images, and seeing that the city on the side of the north, the city of the great king emerging, the shining light of Africa. What is it like being in Addis, and what have you witnessed with the recent time? And are there things that we should know?
Seen. So I think history is going to record this as a very interesting, and to use a word that is probably the best I can choose right now, dichotomous time.
Okay.
Um, our home, Sister Mitzi, you visited and so forth, was in the line of well, was under eminent domain, and so now we are rebuilding outside of the city, along with several thousand of us who again, this is our home. So regardless of what is going on, we stay, we hold the fort. And so there is a lot of transition, and frankly speaking, and it's not a secret that many of us, as cultural advocates, would have loved to continue to see preservation go hand in hand with development, and strike that balance. Um, that said, there are many significant cultural iconic spaces that are still in existence, even if they're outside of Addis. And so now it's our responsibility as both Rastafari, as Pan Africanists, as Ethiopians, and as creatives, to begin to curate and create new spaces that speak of this new era, if you will, where Ethiopia is concerned. So, as with everything, and particularly development, it's just like giving birth. It's quite painful. And sometimes the baby in the process may have a small um, affirmity, but we go through, we stand strong. And so that's really where we are right now, is
Yeah, man.
standing strong, redefining what our role is within the context of this new Ethiopia, this new vision, because we have always been here, and we have not been thrown out of the country. At every step of the way, there is still some form of embrace and recognition and regard for us. And we don't take that for granted, regardless of
Yes,
what is
yes,
happening.
yes.
So this is the reality. This is the land of our great father, Kadamawi, Haile Selassie the first, and we know that we're here for a reason and not just a season. So we're tickled brown. We're tickled brown. We're at home, and
Yes,
we're inviting and encouraging all to come home and join us. And this is a land, when you talk about publishing, remember, we've been publishing ever since,
yes.
Book of Enoch, and everything it there, right here, from goatskin manuscripts right
Yes.
through now. And you can still see vendors on the streets selling. So literature is a major part of the society and the culture. And we're going to just continue doing our best to create.
Thank you. This that was very nuanced, and it's very important that we reason with I and I who are on the ground, because we're seeing one aspect, which is the design, but there's the other side, which is the eminent domain. People losing their property. We know even in Shashamani there were issues with the Naya House and the Carter Plan and all these things. So there are two sides, but I love the way that I always give a very balanced and diplomatic response. But that is the reality of development. What I mean is that there are going to be two sides. So we can definitely have that on another episode. I would love to have the eye forward to talk about Ethiopia, which always, the throne room is always something that we keep close to our heart as Rastafari, brethren and system, no matter where we plan to land on the continent. Ethiopia have to be part of our calculus. So give thanks. I'm going to now shift. If the eye can remain with us, give thanks.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Give thanks. Give thanks. Mama Rakina, I want to shift to the eye because I know it's also in the hours in Accra, and I don't know how long we're gonna have the Wi-Fi. Can you just introduce yourself and your book? What it's all about, and how we can tap in. Mama Rakina, you have to unmute yourself there, Mama Rakina or Sister Rakina. You have to press the unmute button. I'm not able to unmute the eye. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties with the Ghana connection. You have to unmute Sister Rakina. Press the microphone. And if it's hitching, I would say exit and then return. All right, we're going to go to Sister Mitzi, since we can't really get a fullness from Sister Rakina. Please exit Sister Rakina and then come forward, because we're not hearing any audio from the eye, Sister Rakina. All right, we're gonna shift to the eye. Sister Mitzi, first of all, welcome. I'm trying to meditate when I met the eye. I can't even remember meeting the eye.
I remember either.
Pin it down, but it's been many years,
A long time.
and one of the hardest working Rastafari matriarchs. And when I realized how hard they I work is interviewing people and your name keep calling, you know what I mean? And people showing so much gratitude to the eye, you know what I mean? And quiet works. People don't have a clue. The self-sacrifice, the livocation, the staying with the Asians, the visitation. I mean, so much, you know what I mean? But today we're not here for that. We're here because the eye is the author. And we are elated that you have joined, this
Group.
yes, elite ones, because everyone who's written a book know how difficult, no matter the length, of actually starting and finishing the work, you know what I mean, and getting it out. So we are all very excited. So tell us about the iBook and the storyline and the inspiration to write this book.
Yeah, give thanks to Dejazmatch. Before I go any further, I really want to salute my sister, Sister Desta, because I'm listening to her speaking and confirming more and more how much, of a great inspiration she has been to my own life. We have tried this journey, for a long, long hour. And I'm grateful for her presence still and her representation. Mama Desta has this warmth of speaking and this love voice, that, yeah, it's kind of magnetic. But we give thanks for her presence because I just want to say, that just recently, I used Mama Desta's book just to reaffirm to a child when we were growing up. I mean, lots was a part of our journey that we chose, or like
Yes.
with my children, Mama Desta's children, and others, we chose lots. We chose to raise our children within this liberty. But there are children now who are not Rastafari, whose parents are not Pan African or anything, but they're embracing, lots for themselves, and the parents kind of are lost. They don't know what to do. So
Yes.
apart from calling on me to write a letter to the school or something, they see you as someone that can help to guide the child and to strengthen them in terms of their journey. So
Yes.
Mama Desta's book very recently, I met this little girl, Nzinga. Nzinga is 5 years old.
Okay.
And Nzinga tells herself that with the name Nzinga, she should not be combing her hair. I'm serious. So, this kind of flabbergasted her parents and her grandparents because they didn't know what to do. They're not really, they have nothing at all against Rastafari, but have
Yes.
no idea about locks. So
Yes.
I had the opportunity and the privilege of introducing I Love Locks to little Nzinga, and she kind of looks through it and sees herself.
Beautiful.
It mirrors her as a child. So, it's such an important book like that to help young children who are really trying to just affirm their place with locks in the world. Sometimes a parent, even Rastafari, can't explain it to you, but that intimate connection through a book, through illustrations, it really helps a lot. So, all right. So my book, I don't know if you have it here. This is what it is. It's called I Can, says Fran, front and back cover. And this book, I have done so many manuscripts of children's books before, but somehow this one became the lucky one to be the first one published because, like Mama Desta says, the liberty and culture of Rastafari is something that I have documented so much, especially for children, because I really want them to, people generally, to become familiar with our liberty and our culture through the eyes of a child, and through the language and the message of a child. So I haven't published anything like that, but while I was working on that, what I'd call more serious and intimately connected literature, my daughter said to me, "Mommy, you can write. Why don't you just write something easier? You
Hmm.
know, just to make sure that you're on track with your writing." So I said, "Okay." And that's what I did. Her name is Fran, just to rhyme with can, because I really wanted it to be a book of affirmations and I mean an affirming kind of book. And I really wanted to use Marcus Garvey's speech, "If you have no confidence in self." Mama Desta referred to it before. "If you have no confidence in self, you
Yes.
are twice defeated in the race of life. With confidence, you have won even before you started." You know, that quotation has helped to me with my own confidence, because I'm not always a very confident person. But
Yes.
His Majesty speaks so much. He has a speech on African unity. "Today we look to the future calmly, confidently, and courageously." And that has been my mantra and an affirmation of mine. It continues to be. I speak it on the radio, I speak it everywhere. Because calmness, confidence, and courage are things that I think can just open doors for you and help you to be, just a better person in everything. So I really wanted to pass that on to a child.
Yes.
I wanted to use Marcus Garvey's quotation. So Fran became the character, the main character. I thought the book needed a main character as well,
Yes.
because it kind of helps children to connect with something.
Yes.
And, of course, a children's book, you needed illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew the journey would be um, somewhat of a challenging one, but I was up for it. I was ready for it. When I got
Okay.
into it, I shared everything with Sekou
Mhm.
along the way, because it's a series of books, and I didn't know. I do editing for other people, but to edit a children's book down to
Yes.
like 1,000 words, I realized I needed a professional editor to help
Okay.
me with that.
Okay.
That's how I embarked on getting the professional editor first. She was magnificent. She cannot teach me now how to do it myself.
Okay.
I know I can self edit now in terms of bringing it to what I need to bring it to. But I just want to read the description of the book that I have
Please.
used. Yes, I can say Fran is a positive, playful children's story with an empowering message of confidence and courage. Fran is a Jamaican girl who is ridiculed, bullied, and told what she can't do because she has very big feet. She dreams of being a footballer, but is laughed at by her classmates when she joins her school's first girls' football team. Fran's next door neighbor would always read her speeches by Marcus Messiah Garvey, and she's inspired by Mr. Garvey's timeless speech on self confidence. Fran is determined to show that she has the confidence to do the things she loves and the courage to fulfill her dreams, no matter how hard it seems. With "I can" as her motto, Fran shows that her big feet are not a problem, and when she makes up her mind, she can do anything with them. Fran's story reminds boys and girls to love themselves, to believe in themselves, and never to accept defeat. It's about the power of my mind, not the size of my feet, she would boldly say. With its easy, engaging rhyme and vibrant, colorful illustrations, the story will win the hearts of children and adults alike and leave them with lasting, loving life lessons. And it kind of seals up at the back to say, "I know boys and girls like me will now see that they can be anything they choose to be." So this was my own journey as a child coming into adulthood. Just being confident about the things I wanted to do and to be able to bring my dreams to fruition. And I think there are a lot of children in my work. On a daily basis, I have to deal with a lot of children, and I found that confidence was really something that they were having challenges with. And I
Yes.
think confidence can really be a superpower for children. And getting older and being more exposed to people's experiences, I find that I've confirmed that your mind is really your greatest power. There's so much that you can do and not do depending on your mental state.
Yes.
So the power of the mind is something that I'm really affirming with children, no matter what age they are. And also my imagination, I think, is my superpower. I think that's the thing that really drives me
Yes.
in work, and it's my greatest motivation because I have a great imagination. So when I start there, I don't put limits on myself, because my imagination goes everywhere. So it allows me the space and the scope to just express and to know that everything is going to be all right, you know, because
Mighty.
your imagination is yours. First of all, you own it. You can do whatever you want to do with it, and it has helped me. So helping children to just know that you don't have limitations because of anything physical or because of what anybody is telling you. A lot of us go to school with teachers. We even have parents who put limitations on our capacity, put limitations on our ability, and worse, if you find yourself with a physical, deformity or anything at all, people are ready to box you up and tell you what you can't do. So Fran, as a little girl who, in this story, she loves to play football. The other stories, there are things she plays games that would challenge her with her big feet, and she really shows that, listen, nothing at all is going to stop me if this is what I really want to do. Because my big feet are no problem. When I make up my mind, I'll do anything with them. So that's really fun. I used the style of rhyming because I found that it came naturally. I know it's also something that it's easy on children's ears, and in terms of the flow and for them to be able to follow. So, there's a Pan African context to it, using
Yes.
centering Marcus Garvey's quote, really gives it a different kind of context. And the characters now, I decided that I would use characters that fall within the Jamaican football experience. I am so
Okay.
happy that I included Alan Skillcole as one of the characters in it,
Okay.
because Alan Skillcole is my brethren, and
Okay. Condolences, condolences. I was in dialogue with him right before he passed. He was supposed to come on the platform,
okay,
So,
yeah. So I'm happy that Alan and I got to really talk about the book before he was in favor of it, because him say, Mitzi, I mean, people don't really honor me like that. So being placed in a children's book, I think, it kind of immortalizes people. And
yeah, mighty.
Alan is one of the persons that have introduced to a new generation, because there are a lot of people who don't know the story of this icon
No, no.
and the role he played, within the football experience in Jamaica as
Yeah.
a young man, and the confidence and the courage that he had to be who he was. And there are three main characters in there apart from Fran, and the other two are Neville Burtis Bell, who is presently, he's a big radio host, but also a huge coach in Jamaica, a football coach, and
Okay.
a great mentor to so many Jamaican young footballers and
Okay.
schoolboys. So I
Okay.
have a lot of admiration for Neville Burtis Bell. And there's also Khadija Bonnie Shaw, who is a no generation. The reggae girls have been put on the map, and I have to
Yes.
Sidella Marley for that, because Sidella believed in the
Yes.
reggae girls. She was introduced to their talent and their potential by her son Skip, and she took on the challenge of being their global ambassador.
Yes.
So being on that journey with Sidella as well, kind of affirming female footballers. And yeah, and so Khadija is the captain of the Reggae Girls team, and also doing great things for herself on the world stage, with football. So I got to talk to her as well, and tell her that I really want to put her in this book. Nobody was in opposition about it because I assured
Yes,
them that they would be well represented.
yes,
So
yes.
as I said, these are the three characters that are featured, and it's just to bring them to the awareness of our children. If you don't know about them, you're going to learn about them now, and they will be a motivation. They will be a source of inspiration to you. I've done some readings at schools, and introducing Alan Skill Code to the young boys was a very uplifting experience for me because I really loved Alan like that. And as a footballer, I think he's a great example to any young footballer. So, that has been a good experience. I've been able to place the books in the not necessarily bookstores, but gift shops in Jamaica. It has been doing
Okay.
very well. I am presently in the process of negotiating on behalf of Mama Desta and Sister Aisha's books because I really want them to be in the same places. The bookstore at the airport, my book has been doing very well there, and I think theirs will as well.
Okay.
So, we really encourage. I am inspired by authors who look like me,
Yes.
yes, and who have a message. Fran's message. Fran is essentially a Jamaican character, although she doesn't have to be limited to a space, but it's an international message. I think it's a message that every child can relate to. And yeah, I've been getting good feed forward about it, and I'm really, really happy, looking forward to the next one. And I'm really grateful to Ras Sekou. Ras Sekou has really been a source of light for us within the publishing world, continues to be very, very encouraging all the time. When
Yes.
he believe in you, and him going give you him support and give you his.
Yes.
So we want to big up Frontline,
Every
as
time.
that space that we have, especially as Rastafari and as Pan African. And I don't want to close what I'm saying without remembering a very special sister of mine, who is Sister Minnie Phillips,
Yes.
who transitioned, I think 2018. Sister Minnie called me one day and said, Sister Mitzi, I need you to come and help me to edit my manuscript because she had written a book. Sister Minnie was like she was a good friend of Bob and Nana Rita Marley, and traveled on the road with them a lot, preparing food. She don't necessarily like to be called a chef, but she sees herself as someone who does it in a very special way. Had the very first Ital restaurant in Kingston, and she called me and said, I want you to come and help me to do my manuscript. And it was such an honor. Sister Minnie actually encouraged me to write in the evenings when we were finished doing what we are doing. She said, Sister Mitzi, we need books in the classroom that reflect who we are as Rastafari, as African people.
Okay.
And so I was on that mission with her, and she was the first person that I had the joy of reading a children's story to. It was actually called African Dream, and was inspired by her work in going forward to Ghana with the
Yes.
remains of one of our sisters, Crystal, who was an enslaved African here, and whose remains Sister Minnie found at Seville and took the responsibility of taking her home,
Yes.
yeah, through the door of return.
Yes.
And it was historic, and I was so happy to be a part of that journey. Sister Minnie was really a source of encouragement for me
Yes.
at the time. Unfortunately, and I'm saying this now with so much regret, unfortunately, the computer that I had, that story and another one that was written in relation to my journey with ancients of Rastafari, written as a child, I lost them on a computer that crashed. So, that was a big lesson for me, because at the time I was so naive about backing up things on hard
Yes.
drive and all of
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So that's one of the things I'm trying to reproduce, especially in honor of Sister Minnie. Yes, but as I say, we have so many ones out there who continue to inspire us in terms of literature, and we really want to continue to encourage this culture of reading with our children and to ensure that it's a part of their daily routine so they can develop a love of reading on their own because there's so much distraction for them, in terms of technology and gadgets that if we don't kind of instill it in them, very early, let them see themselves in the books. So yeah, so the illustrations that I did, I think are very attractive, and
Yeah,
that
is
was
the illustrator as well? You're the illustrator as well?
no. When I said I did, wow, no, I'm not. I'm happy how excited you got. But no, sorry to disappoint you. It's actually a young sister she's Jamaican but lives in Canada. Her name is
Okay.
Karina Robinson.
Okay.
And yes, I got in touch with her and developed a good relationship with her. So yeah, so we're going to continue it. We have a lot more work to do, and we really want to encourage our family to write our own stories. Make sure that we're
Yes.
documenting ourselves in stories for our children.
I'm
Let
so
our children
passionate
see
about that.
themselves in our books, in our illustrations, and as you said, to Mama Desta, which I've always had the same kind of thinking. How do we animate these stories to present them to a different market? So we have all those ideas. The technology and the capacity is here. So we have the people to do these things when we're ready. So yes, we give thanks, and I would just continue to salute my sisters and brothers who are are creating books, and continue to encourage yourself, Rasquazi, and of course Raseku, in terms of how you strengthen that movement of
Yes.
reading and writing.
I'm
Yeah, because I want to say something very quickly. My mother was a big reader and a big writer, and she said to me at a very young age, Mitzi, reading is important, but writing is exciting. And I've never forgotten that. And writing from very early has always been so important. But it couples well
borrow
with
that. I have to borrow that from your mother.
yes, but it is though. Writing is exciting.
I
And I'm
love
sure
it.
my sisters can attest to that as well.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Ras Sekou, do you have any questions for Mama Mitzi?
Yes. My question would be: this book is such a classic of a book. I want to know when the series are going to continue, and I want to know how soon should we look out for, because you've been enough fans now, So it isn't just Sekou Tafari talking and asking a question. I'm asking a question on behalf of the fans. So don't forget a personal thing.
Thanks.
It's not a
All right.
personal thing.
So we give thanks for that, Seku. And you hear him talking. He's a part of every step of the journey. And I actually had sent the second manuscript to get it to start it off, and the person got sick at the time, and then the hurricane and all of that. So we're doing things in a timely way. So early, I would hope, Seku, that by April of next year we can see the second one in the series, because people
Looking
ask me,
forward, looking forward.
there's a bookstore that really loves the book, and as I tell you, when I called the airport bookstore on Friday, the second set of books that I took there are sold. So there are people who are gravitating towards it. They gravitate towards the message, especially, and as I said, tying it up with Marcus Garvey as our national hero, really gives it another
Foundation,
aspect
yes.
of marketing potential.
Yes,
So
foundation.
yeah, so we give thanks.
Boy, that is so powerful. We have an abundance of riches on this panel. Mama Rakina, I see the eyes forward. Can the eyes say something?
Yes, are you hearing me?
I hear
Very
you
well.
clear now.
Wonderful.
While we have you,
Okay,
we're not gonna get,
wonderful.
yeah, go straight into your book.
Yes. Well, yes, my name is Mama Rakina, and I am currently in Accra, Ghana. And just to say a little bit about myself, I became aware that I was an African at the age of 14. So prior to that, I didn't want to have anything to do with Africa. And I'm sorry you can't see me, but I have the video off. I didn't want to have anything to do with Africa because I was told in school and by all around me, those around me, that Africa was bad, Africa was backward, the dark continent. And so I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And in fact, the thought of it, because I vaguely knew that somehow I was connected to this African continent, but the thought of it really brought shame and disdain. But at the age of 14, I was born in Chicago. So at the age of 14, in our community in Chicago, there was something that we called the cultural nationalist movement. And so many of us were starting to identify with, first of all, being Black, because that was even a negative thing. We had songs like James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. We were listening to Miriam Makeba, and there was a commercial on television that talked about having natural hair. It was, I don't know if any of you remember it, Watu Wazuri, beautiful people use Afro sheen. So as a teenager, I wanted to have that nice Afro, it was beautiful. So suddenly it became something that you wanted to be, and you wanted to be proud of, you know, um, your Blackness and your Africanness. And there was a brother in Chicago, his name was Ruachiri, may his soul rest in power. He was from Zimbabwe, and he taught classes. We attended classes on the weekends at this place called the Communiversity. And there were many people that were lecturing there, and he taught classes. And I became connected with him through his organization, which was called United Africans for One Motherland International, or UFOMI. And there was a newsletter that he and others published called Africa Must Unite. And my special assignment was Kwame Nkrumah. Even at that age, I love to write. I've always loved to write. And so I was assigned to study the works of Kwame Nkrumah and, write an article or articles for the newsletter. So then I became interested in Ghana. So at the age of 15, I took my first trip to Ghana. That was in 1973. So here I am back in Ghana again. A lot has changed. This is my fourth time here. But over the years, I've traveled to various countries on the motherland in Africa. And I felt that it was important to tell those stories, because certainly, I'm happy that I've been able to travel to Africa, and I strongly encourage people to do, that travel, to make sure that they make it home to the motherland. But, it's not all roses, it's not all, milk and honey. There's, especially living on the continent as I have for some years, there are a lot of challenges, it's there's good, and there's the challenges too. So I wanted to tell those stories. My main purpose of writing the book, though, is to inspire others to travel to the motherland, go to Africa. I talked to people as I was documenting my journeys on social media, and especially when I moved to Africa. I was in Tanzania first. I was sharing photographs and telling some of the stories, and people were saying, "Oh, I didn't know they had houses like that in Africa." I was living in a nice apartment,
Wow.
in all of the places. So, those were the kind of comments that I was getting. And then people started encouraging me to, really document and write the book. So I decided to write the book. The book is called Yumbani. The N is kind of silent, not completely silent. So it's pronounced Yumbani, and that is a Kiswahili word that means home. So it's an African travel memoir. And it really chronicles my travels across 12 countries in Africa
Wow.
over about a 50-year period.
Wow.
Again, all the stories, good and bad, are in here. So I'm telling, it's my story, but I tell it and I tell a lot of things about myself and what, inspired me to begin on that journey. To also inspire people, to let people know that you can do it too. When I was 15, I certainly didn't have a job. I was in high school and my parents were not wealthy. I did not go with my parents. I went on my own. So in Chicago, I used to make jewelry, necklaces and bracelets and earrings, and I sold them in art fairs in Chicago. And that's how I was able to raise the money for that trip. There were two brothers from Ghana that were organizing a charter flight, and it was $425 round trip. It's about 4 times that now, but back in 73, still for a 15-year-old that didn't have, a lot of money and, didn't have a job, that was a lot of money. And so I was able to raise that money. And then, then of course they said, well, you have to have a passport, you have to pay for that, get passport pictures. And yeah, it was a struggle trying to come up with that money. And some of my friends went along on that trip in 1973. Most of them were older than me. I was the youngest one at 15.
Wow. And you made mention of some of the differences you see in Accra. I was just there. What
Mhm.
are the differences that you noticed since returning?
Well, I mean, it feels more like a bigger, more contemporary city now than it did.
Brilliant.
Um,
Okay, things are just about to get juicy, and the Wi-Fi had to intervene. That's how the Wi-Fi, the guy always wants to start the show over here. That's how you know we're one of the hot platform, because Wi-Fi, the guy, always try to make an appearance on the platform. Mama Rakina, can you hear I?
now the static is back. Can you hear
We're,
me?
we're not hearing anything. We're not hearing you. We're hearing some
Like
computerized.
a bad connection.
Yeah, the connection is bad. But let's go to the Ras Sekou. What do you have to say about this work? It seemed like it's a very important work.
Is is a very historical work. I've heard us speak about this book for the last 40 plus years, And when she was in Africa, she sent me a chapter and asked me to read it. And in my mind, I said, well, I didn't know I know she could write, but I didn't know she could write as good as she wrote this book. She has really put her foot in her mouth here in terms of really skill writing. I must say, as a person who has been in the writing business and the publishing business for over 50 years. I must say, I thought she has done a great job. a great historical memoir, you know, depicting her journeys, working, you know, as a nurse practitioner in the various parts of Africa and so on, you know, Tanzania, Zambia, um, and so on. I think she did Burkina. I don't know if she did Burkina Faso, but I know she did. I know she did Senegal, Gambia. You know, so big history, big, you know, a big thing to be able to go in with with these youths and train them, especially some of the train she trained, young women she trained, and young men she trained as nurses. They have now graduated and so on. So you feel there's a certain amount of pride, I guess you feel with that, you know, seeing that when you, especially when you know, you see children that you have taught has grown into, you know, into a particular field of endeavor. Yeah, so it's a great work. It's a great work. It's a big book too. It's not a small book. It's 406 pages, 6 by 9. You
Oh
know.
wow.
And let me show you. Let me show you what the book looks like. It's a big book. You seen the book?
Hold on there, hold on there, hold on there. Okay, yes, yes.
It's not a small. It's not a small book. I didn't know it was so much writing. A lot of writing, but very much because she's a good reader as well. You know, when I first met her as a person, she was reading. She was reading a lot of books. You know, Maya Angelou, California Cooper, all these different people she was reading. You know, Asata. You know, or you know, so she's also a great reader. They call her Ngugi. You know, she's a fond of Ngugi. So a person who reads a lot will make a good writer. And that's one thing I always say: we need to read. In order to be a good writer, we need to be a good reader. You know. So this is the back of the book. We have
Hold on.
something written.
1 second. Go ahead, hold it up again.
Yeah, this is the back of the book. You have a nice piece written by Dr. Patricia Rodney, the wife of the late um, Walter Rodney, who if once you're a Pan African, you know, in any part of the world, you should don't know that name. If he was a student at Howard University, would have known that name. You know, Guyanese born, but strong Pan Africanist. Killed by the Burnham regime and so on. I cannot hold that back. You know, it's just the truth is the truth. You know,
Yes.
Walter was a great comrade of the Rastafari community and a great brother of the Pan African struggle, you know, all over the world. He worked in Tanzania. I first encountered him in Grenada and also in Trinidad, addressing the oil field workers trade union, what you call Labor Day celebration. So you know, he was a simple African, but was also a person who I would say was willing and always willing to go down to the masses of the people, to teach and to learn from the masses of people. He did that when he was in Jamaica in the late 60s, and that one of the reasons why he was expelled by the regime in Grenada. He was kicked out. So when he came back from the conference, the writers' conference in Toronto, Canada, he was not allowed. He was considered to be non de grata, right? Non-personally grata. Yeah, he experienced that being a Caribbean man from another Caribbean country, where he taught at the University of the West Indies at Mona for a few years. So you know, so this is his wife talking about this book because she really loved the book and she was able to share her writing about the book at the back of the cover. So we give thanks for that. So it's a book to all people who are interested in memoirs, or if you're interested in traveling to Africa, you definitely should read. You know, yeah,
Let's see if
definitely. It's a must read.
let's see if Mama Rakina we can hear the eye again. We see the beautiful face. Try to say something. Yeah, we're not hearing anything. It looks like we have to trade. We're getting nice audio, no visual. Now we have the beautiful visual, no audio. So everyone can see the author. Let me put her up beside her work so you can see the work. Unfortunately, we're not able to hear, but this is a memoir of her personal journey over 50 years. She does not look like she has that many years, but it's true, family. I'm not making it up. She said it herself here on the platform. You see, that doesn't look like someone with 50 years of travel. And I mean, she's taking good care of herself. So we give thanks. The good, the bad, and the ugly of Mama Africa is here. Mama Rakina, maybe try to exit and come back in and see, because I definitely want to ask you a couple more questions about the book. So see,
Okay, will do.
okay, we heard you. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh, you're gone already. We're gonna try to get her to come forward because we definitely um, have some questions that we want to ask her. But again, this just shows you the greatness of our legendary elder Ras Sekou Tafari, that he is publishing these works. This is why we have to spend our money with Frontline. Where else is this assembly of authors going to be gathered to put out their work on a Pan-African publisher? You know what I mean? Who have decades of experience. What more do we want, family? This is it. But now we have to show that love with our dollars. So this we're gonna see Mama Rakina as rejoin. Let me see if we can get audio from her. Mama Rakina, try talk. Oh wow. Try again. Right before you signed off, we heard you. It came in clear for like a second. So try one more. Try again. Very faint, and it sounds like it's the computerized. But keep talking. Let's hear the visual. Oh, say again. Talk again. No, turn off the camera and then talk, and let's see if that will free up some space. Talk now.
There.
Okay, talk again. Keep going.
Yes, greetings.
Yes, now we're hearing. Now we're hearing.
Okay, the static is still there though. It's
Yeah,
minimized.
it's minimized a little bit, but we can work with it. What do you consider yourself a Pan-Africanist, having gone through Africa? Because there's a big online controversy right now with African American, FBA, ADOS, all of this. Do you consider yourself a Pan-Africanist?
Absolutely. I consider myself firstly an African and not, the hyphenated version of that. I am an African I was born in America, and I am a Pan-Africanist, have been a Pan-Africanist since I was a teenager. I was a member of the All African People's Revolutionary Party, which was an organization founded actually by Kwame Nkrumah and put into action by the works of Kwame Ture, formerly Stokely Carmichael.
Okay. Where are your parents from?
My parents are from the South. My mom was born in Mississippi, and my father was born in Louisiana.
Okay. Okay.
So when I did an ancestry.com, African ancestry actually,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
my ancestry was traced to the Fulani people and the Malinke people.
Okay. Okay. Serious. So, in terms of the online debate, I don't know if you're familiar with it. How does your book contribute, or how would it help someone who is born, family line, comes from America, from this soil? How can your book kind of help them, or what does it add to the current dialogue that's taking place online?
Current dialogue.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of discussion about Africans born in America. You know, there's a group that call themselves Foundation of Black Americans. There's a group that call themselves African Descendants of Slaves. But both of them are saying, you know, that basically the Pan African ideal has failed, and that Black Americans should focus internally and not worry about the rest of the Black diaspora. Hold on, I'm not hearing the eye clearly anymore. Say it again, talk again. What's that? Okay, unfortunately, we're not hearing you clearly. I see someone in the comments, Golden Blood Angel. Can you clarify what you're saying? This is the Lion Voice Network. You can't just come in here and throw insults. Come with your reasoning, and let's hear what you have to say, and we can pose it to the guests as a question. But if you come in here and you throw insults, you'll be removed. This is high level. We love disagreements, but we need them to be intelligent. All right, Mama Rakina, talk again. Let's see if we can make it work.
Yes.
Okay.
And we are Africans. You know, we cannot deny that we are Africans. Even there are some people that are saying, well, we were in America before we came, there's a book, we came before Columbus, but we came from Africa. We are still Africans. We are not Americans. America is not our land. So we are Africans, and we keep wanting to run away from that. This is not new. What people are saying now, this is not new. We always want to run away from Mama Africa.
This is hurting my heart. This is hurting my heart, Mama Rakina, because we're not hearing, and you're cooking with spice and sweet pepper and all type of thyme and oregano and cayenne pepper, but we're not hearing the spice.
Yes.
Okay, say again. We are African. Say again. Let's try, because
yes, we are Africans. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now.
Okay, and here's the static again. So I just said that historically we have always tried to run away from the fact that we are African, but we can't run away from it. We even those that were in America that came a long time ago before Christopher Columbus. They came from Africa. They didn't come from anywhere else aside from Africa. So, we always try and run away. We've always struggled as a people with identity. But we cannot run away from the fact that we are Africans. And, I wrote this book. So, again, to try and encourage people to go to Africa, because when you go to Africa, for me as a 15-year-old, I knew I was home. I struggled as a teenager, and even as a young adult with, identity, with finding a place where I felt I was comfortable, where I fit in.
family. Thank you for your patience. I know this is difficult, Mama Rakina. We're gonna have to
Yes.
ask the eye to come forward. What you're saying is too important to make this character named Wi-Fi the guy interrupt because what you're saying
Right.
is so pertinent, and we're just, it's coming in and out. But I want to have this dialogue with you because your ancestry, can be traced onto the soil, but you've also done the DNA. So I think you're very important because they're trying to divide us, simple and plain, divide and rule is the only plan. And there is
Mm-hmm.
this diaspora war raging online, that's being pushed. And I think we need to hear more voices like yours that, yes, we were here before Columbus, but we were Africans that were here before
Right.
Columbus. Yes, we are the first, the Olmecs, dating from probably hundreds of thousands of years we've been on this soil, but we were still Africans on this soil.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that position needs to be articulated by someone like yourself with over 50 years of experience of travel, of looking at the culture. You know what I mean? I mean, just the very fact that we're so melanated speaks to our origin, on this tropical continent. Um, so I love what you're saying. And
Right.
yeah, continue. But now that we can hear you,
Right.
what?
Yes.
All right.
Before I did the DNA test, my friends from Mali told me that I definitely was Fulani.
Okay.
And after I did the DNA test, they asked me why did I waste my money doing the test because they already told me. So I'm saying this to say that if you go to Africa, you will find your people.
Yeah.
When I go to Africa, people will start speaking to me in their native languages because there's so many. You'll see your cousins, your brothers and sisters. They are there, and when you go to Africa, it becomes even harder to deny because
Yes.
you are. Mhm.
Wow.
So
Wow. Wow.
there's confusion. There is confusion on both sides.
Yeah.
Some people from the diaspora will say, "Oh, I went to Africa and they didn't accept me," or even the Africans from the continent that come to the U.S., for example, will say, "No, you're not African," or all kind of stories. They think they're better than us, and
Yes. Yes.
all these kind of things. It's just trying to divide and conquer
That's
because the world knows that when Africa has power, the imperialists, they will not have the power that they have. And that's why they're so
yes.
afraid. And they continue to try and divide us as a people.
Wow.
So,
I'm in awe of your oration, and I'm very, we're gonna have to bring you forward when you come stateside, and we have you with
yes,
Wi-Fi. I need a whole
yes,
program just to talk about this book and this divide and rule tactic, because I think your book is a key piece of literature for this very time. You know what I mean? Um,
yes,
yeah, I think it speaks to the moment, and especially because it has perspective over years. You're not someone who's a casual person who went to Africa, one time on vacation, and you've been.
yes. And I have to say, I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm trying to get in when I can.
Yes, no,
I
jump in.
have to say that, I wrote it as a novel, even though it's a memoir. So
Okay.
everything is true, but I wrote it in the style of a novel. So the feedback that I've gotten, there's some humor in it because sometimes, especially living in Africa, I had to laugh at myself at some of the things, the adjustments that one has to make. There's humor, there's some serious things, mental health issues. There's some
Okay.
domestic violence and all of that,
Oh wow.
So
Yes, yes. So I love that. I love that. So it's written like a novel. So it's an epic griot telling the story. You're gonna be immersed in the experience. That's what that tells me. So
right. That's what people say. Also, people have said that they feel like they're actually traveling on that journey with me. That's the feedback that I'm getting from people that have read the book.
wow, and it's really a bargain price for the size of book, $29.95 on the website. Please, I recommend you purchase it right now. We also are here not just to hear the authors, but to support this platform. We're building it as an economic engine to help us to build ourselves as a people. We want economic activity with each of these programs. When I bring guests on the platform, I told everyone my vision. We're nearing 59,000 subscribers. My vision is that at least 50,000 people spend $10 with my guests. And that would be moving $500,000 of capital. That would be changing the life of a creator, that they'd be able to fund a operation for a year or two or three. They would maybe be able to hire staff. So I want us to know as an audience the power that we have if we come together and support our creatives. And it's so important that, you know what I mean, we don't just give congratulations, but we spend our dollars. That's the power that we have. If not, we'll be eaten by the wealthy. If we don't aggregate our capital and direct it to the people doing the work, we have no chance of combating the large amounts of capital being employed against us. So I'm just asking the global family, purchase the book, and please do what you can. Ras Sekou, are there anything you want to ask Sister Rakina before we move on to Sister Aisha?
Yes, of course. I heard Sister Rakina mention the whole idea of when she was 15 preparing to go to Africa, and that journey. Well, I want to know, going to Africa over the last 10 years, what have you taken from it, and what could you pass on to those who are listening and to those who would read your book? What would be the takeaway? What are the takeaways?
Africanism to come into fulfillment.
All right, start over. Let's try again. We're not hearing.
Okay. In order for Pan-Africanism to come into fulfillment, we need all Africans, those on the continent and those in the diaspora. So we need to go home. I'm not saying that all of us need to move to Africa physically, although
we're not getting the gist. We're not getting the gist. It's going in and out.
Okay.
Let's just park it right there for now and just know Ras Sekou, we're gonna bring her forward. She needs her own program. This is a serious matter because she is cooking with hot gas and grease and firewood and charcoal and everything. You know what I mean? She's really I love the reasoning. Can we now bring forward a regular now? I think she's almost a regular on the platform.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's a reggae.
I'm so glad to call her my sister, my big sister. We have been working together now for some time, and had to spend some lovely time together in Ghana, West Africa, and She was also our guest last month on the Reading Ras on the front line. And the book is so powerful that we said, you know what, she must be a part of this. We can't have this legendary classic panel and we don't draw for Sister Aisha. And she come with a royal head wrap, everything and beautiful and pretty up herself. So I really want to just give thanks and let us bring her forward again, once again, to talk about the boy who loved plants. I'm going to let you lead this one, Ras Sekou, because I did the one last draw, so you
Yes,
can ask the questions.
yes, yes. Greeting, Mama Aisha.
Greetings, brethren. How are
Greeting.
we doing? Give thanks.
Good. Then I
Greetings.
just want to, I holding this special book in my hand. Everybody can see me, right?
Wow.
And we have this Nubian queen, this Nubian empress, who is the author of this book, Diana Aisha Collingwood, right? Who we all know, who we love dearly. So can you tell us about this book and what inspired you to write this book? And this is
Yes.
the back of the book. This is the back of the book. Right? Don't be blushing, but this is the book, right? So what inspired you to write this book? Because it's a really special piece, you know?
Well, there were a
And
combination of
we need these
things.
pieces, to inspire our young men, young brothers and sisters, you know? Um, we need people to encourage them to go forward to the whole idea of agriculture, which was first created by African people. You know, we must always remember that. To always remember to indicate that Africa has been in the forefront of agriculture, which is our first culture. You know, if we don't eat what we grow, we were heading for total starvation. So tell us about this book and what inspired you and what you think. What is the takeaway for the young people and even for adults?
Give thanks for the introduction. This book is a result of many of my passions. You know, I love reading, I love agriculture, and I like learning from my elders. This book combines all of these things together. As an agriculture teacher, I taught that lesson a lot, especially to my special needs students. The concept of the perfect flower using the hibiscus flower. As a child, it's a flower I played with a lot. I know the flower intimately, you know, all the different parts. We used to stick some on our nose. You use it to make a tea, a shampoo. I mean, there's so many uses for the flower. And it's a combination of those experiences. In terms of writing the book, it was said earlier, if you can love to read, then writing is exciting. Is that what you said, Sister Mitzi, that your mom said? Um, Reading is fun, but writing is exciting. That makes sense. And
Yes,
then
reading is important, but writing is exciting.
you see, exactly. So just writing this book and inspiration from Brother Sekou too. Oh, for all the decades I've known him and his passion for writing and publishing books. And I just wanted a piece of that action. And when I taught this lesson as an agriculture teacher, my students got it. My special students for life, they knew the scientific parts of the flower based on their experience. But most importantly, it was an opportunity to remind young people and all of us really that everything we need to succeed is around us and within us. The indigenous knowledge, the skills we learn from our ancestors, our grandparents, our forefathers, and then our environment is a great lesson in education and science. And just to encourage us that we could empower ourselves by utilizing the resources that Jack put on this earth for us. It could help us through our health issues, our nutrition issues. It could help empower us economically. Every agriculture is the first culture. So it's just reintroducing the value of agriculture to youth and next generation. Now, the book goes from it has these characters in the book. The boy, his name is Benji, right? He has strong interactions with his parents. His mom talks about the experiences from her parents. And then he has an uncle who is a farmer that he loves. So he spends a lot of time engaging with his family and learning the culturally appropriate things they do with the flower, the historic things. And then he's so excited, he wants to share his knowledge, his newfound knowledge, with his classmates at school. So now he takes the flower to school, and that's when it's formalized from an educational perspective. Because at school, they're studying the parts of the plant and the function of each part. So as a result, he gets to let them know the fun things he did with the flower, while at the same time teaching them the scientific parts of the flower. And I think that's the beauty of the book in general.
I
Now,
love it. I love how you put how you put it together. The whole idea of being able to articulate it in a most fundamental and simple way. Um, and I remember went to Jamaica in at the end of May, and I shared a copies of with it of your book with Mama Mitzi, and she called me back when I reached back to the U.S. and said to me, "Sekou, I really love that book," you know, and for her to say that, because she, whenever she says she love a book, it I know it always is a good book, because she's a hard critic, you know. So 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 we all love the book, and we want that book to be in the hands of most of our children all over the world,
right.
the whole of North America, all over the Virgin Islands, all of the Caribbean, Africa, and even Asia. We want all black and brown people to read this. So what you have planned for the future? Because Frontline is still, it will be waiting in the next couple of years. We also think that all this book should be in a hardcover for the libraries, for the Trueberries. We think this book should be in hardcover for the Trueberries, because come next year, we're going to put a lot of energy into the African market, and also the European UK market, and to extend other parts of Europe. And I'm hoping that Mama Mitzi could work with I to put those books also in the libraries, and even children um, schools, the young schools, the Montessori schools across Jamaica, and further even across the Caribbean. So yeah, so we're looking forward to your next step. So tell us, what's your plans?
Well, currently, I've really been doing a lot of outreach with the book, reaching out to youths and sharing the story of Benji with them and reminding them the critical importance of academics, reminding them to realize their true potential for excellence, because I think over the years, our young people have lost that desire to excel, you know, to to find their superpowers, to realize their true potential. And this book is a tool I use to do that. Like when I was in Ghana, I visited several schools and I shared the story with them, reminding them that although in their little villages, they're thinking that they're poor, but the reality is that around them, there's so many resources that they can utilize to maximize their potential. And in reality, they're rich. And one of the biggest messages is about that Sankofa bird, and the concept of going back and getting that knowledge from their forefathers, what their grandparents doing. It's important to get new knowledge, but the truth is that we cannot move forward without fetching that knowledge from our parents, our grandparents, and combining them with that new knowledge and having them recognize the true value of their worth based on where they are, the resources they have available, and how they can maximize their potential for success, even from an economic perspective, by developing value added products and the business part of agriculture, the literacy piece. And I think that's key, because to see the youth them realize, it's like a bulb does go off, because for so long we've all been told we're not good enough. We're not good enough for this, we're not, but realizing that we are more than good enough. and we are excellent, and that within ourselves and within the things around us, we can manifest that true potential for excellence. So that's been one of my focuses, and yeah, and just more ideas. I'm just taking notes because again, this is a series, and the intent is for Benji. He's a youth from the Caribbean, a tropical child. He would explore a lot of different regions. I dream of one day Benji visits Kazi in the Volta region and writes about that experience, the similarities between our African continent and our Caribbean vibes. There's so many similarities. So these type of things, and with the concept of global climate change and the need for Black food sovereignty and Black food security and sustainability, this is a tool. This whole journey is a tool to, have young people realize their role in Black food sovereignty and to inspire them to pursue careers in the agricultural sciences, because food is power. If we cannot control our food, we cannot control our destiny. And teaching them to look at food as the powerhouse it is, and everything that comes with that. So that's one of the focuses I have at the moment.
As a former deputy commissioner of agriculture in the U.S. Virgin Islands, could you tell us your visit to Africa, to Ghana specifically recently? What closeness or what differences you see between Caribbean children and African children as it relates to agriculture, in terms of what you see, any commonness in terms of what is the vibe with the children in Africa, in Ghana specifically, when it relates to agriculture?
Agriculture. Okay. In Ghana, the young people aren't so far removed from agriculture where they're still willing to engage once they see the connection between agriculture and personal success. Because at the end of the day, every child wants to be successful, and looking at the whole globe and the tone of the media, all the social media and stuff, they really want to be rich, So when they realize that within agriculture, you could be very rich and bountiful. And if you apply your skills appropriately, especially developing products, extending the shelf life of agricultural produce, then I see that difference, because when I talk to the youth in Ghana and I tell them what agriculture really means and how they could empower themselves through agriculture, they see it and they believe it. With our American youth, they don't even hear agriculture. It's so far from their trajectory. It's hard. So it's like we have to start with our American youth earlier, much early, in kindergarten, in elementary school, because by the time they're 12 or 13, they're already jaded by society. With the African youth, we can still approach young adults, and they can still engage in that vision, because it is not a far cry. They can see how they could improve their standard of living through agriculture. But it's a tougher sell for our American youth. And that's the huge difference. And yes, their attitude towards work and commitment and consistency and trying to do their best every time is different for the African children. And they have that intrinsic desire to do well, and they're willing to work hard. And that's a big difference. Our American youth, they have no desire to work hard. A lot of the youth, not in Africa, they just want to arrive, as opposed to go through the steps towards success like we had to. And that's a key difference.
Question to follow up that statement. You make point of saying, in terms of success, and being rich. Yes, we know some of the richest people here in America are the farmers, but those farmers are people who cattle farmers and stuff like that. However, do we align richness with the idea of progress, how because we have to be careful how we send a message in terms of encouraging people to do agriculture. Are they doing it to get rich, to compare themselves with with whom? I may ask, because richness depends on terms of somebody richness. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have money and they shouldn't make money, but we don't want people to do farming and agriculture for the whole idea that they must exploit people in terms of if something, cost A, that they should charge people exorbitant prices, as what they do here in America, what we call capitalism, is very much crazy. As somebody say, capitalism gone mad. So how you look at it?
I look at it, agriculture is an economic model, okay? Food is premium. People must eat, regardless of how important, how fancy, how much technology, how much gold they have. At the end of the day, each living creature has to eat. If you look at the price we're paying for food globally and the fact that the food that's grown through big corporations is not the healthy food for us. We learn now that the food with all the chemicals and fertilizers and all those additives is what's killing us and causing all those cancers. So the new agriculture is regenerative agriculture using the natural strategies. And although it appears to be easy, it requires the infusion of a lot of science and technology and utilizing historic or indigenous knowledge. It requires critical thinking. It's a business. So wealth, I think that's one of the things we discourage. We don't, as African people, right? We didn't encourage our children to be wealthy, to focus, to think economics. We kind of train our children to go into the service related jobs. You can be a teacher, you can do things. They never tell you you can have a chain of schools all over the world. And this is how we need to rethink our strategy, because again, we are his imperial majesty children, we are imperial quality, we are kings and queens. And we could teach our students to aspire to those levels. From agriculture perspective, again, it's economics. I'm not saying that they have to charge higher prices for food, but if you know what you're doing, you will have quality yields, and everybody wants to eat healthy, locally grown food, and that's what we need to teach them. And he who has the food rules, and we need to teach our students the power of food. And look, in the VI, just in food stamps alone, every month, we generate $4.5 million in food stamps. If we could even educate our local population about the importance of eating healthy food that will be sustaining their health, a lot of that money can go directly to farmers. You know what I mean? So things like that is a change in thinking. And agriculture again is empowerment. For a long time, we've been what? Not included in the big money making piece. We were the ones who go to the store and buy whatever is on the shelf. And you see the results after almost 400 or 500 years, it's killing us. People are getting sick and diseased. And the only way we can cure our health or ensure we have good health is through eating natural, healthy food. So we have to re-educate ourselves again, and that's what the movement towards Black food sovereignty is. The concept that each one of us has to be aware of where our food coming from, or have an idea of how to grow that food, or support the farmer and be an active part in industry, as opposed to going to the conglomerate and buying food from some big entity, that unknown entity, and you don't know what they're putting in your food. So that's education that has to occur. And this book is part of that vision from my perspective.
You see why I had to hang out with the sisters, because the sisters is taking me to another level. You see what I'm talking about? So you couldn't say it much better, Sister Aisha. And we one thing I want to say is that some of the things we call them new is always also old, because
Yes,
I remember my grandfather, who was well known for being an agriculturist in the Caribbean, but they were doing things like taking Tanya and dashing and combining them and growing them. And they were using things like, when they provision skin, and and these things now are proven to be, very much important in terms of what we call manure and different types of different things that we use that and they were not using fertilizers, chemical, fertilizers. So so if we take a footprint from some of our ancestors, we definitely could be on the way to a better life. And yes, we all need money, and it's important, but we also need to know that we don't put money in front of people. That's one of the first things we must learn, whatever we do. So we are thankful, yes, for the whole idea, and we're looking forward to greater things, and we want this book to sell on all continents: Asia, the Caribbean, South America, Central America, all over the globe. This book is a very important book, as all the others, for people, more so African people, and more so our African youth in the Caribbean, in Africa, in North America, Central America, etc. So we hail you up for that. Give thanks.
I want to just read this comment quickly. For those who are joining us for the first time, I just want to let ones know that the Lion Pride is the greatest online community on the planet Earth. I'm biased, but I can say that because of comments like this. Big up yourself. And cause we had someone in the comment earlier that was just saying some insult, and we want to let it be known this is not a yes man factory. You're free to disagree. You're free to come with a different reasoning, but come with some high level frequency. Let us get to the root. We love the discourse, but it has to be high level, or we're gonna remove people from the chat. But this comment says U.S. farmers are increasingly corporate. Over the past few decades, corporate consolidation has led to significant shift in agriculture ownership, with many small farms being acquired or taken over by big corporations. I want Sister Aisha to speak to that, um, and why it's important. Some of the things that she's targeting the children, but why is that what that commenter said so important?
Yeah, because that has been the trend over the past few decades. And that is more of a reason why we need to have small farms, more small farms, because that's
Yeah.
where our healthy food will come from. You were
Yes.
at Kwasi, you saw all the regenerative strategies,
Yes.
using natural additives,
Yes.
composting, doing everything organically, not
Yes.
monocropping, doing multiple crops,
Yes.
forestry, agroforestry, agroecology, using more
Yes.
science and technology, creating your
Yes.
own fertilizers and additives,
Yes.
using worm tea. Like that's my hobby, is making worm tea compost, a type of
Yes.
fertilizer that you use for plants. So those are the strategies. Now at the universities, when I teach introduction to agriculture, for example, at university level, the biggest trend in the future of agriculture is natural and regenerative practices. The same things our grandparents were doing, the same way they farm in Ghana. Those are the things that are being encouraged and supported, because that's the only way we can sustain agriculture on the land we have. A lot of the corporations he mentioned, the land that they farm on is now depleted of natural resources and fertilizers. They can only farm those lands using chemicals, fertilizers, and pesticides. And as they grow food, the yields continue to decrease. The only way we can increase yield is by regenerating the soil, rebuilding the soil, and growing food organically. And that's not just me, the Rasta woman, saying so. That's the scientific data that shows that. So, and we also need to engage the youth in agriculture because of how much technology is needed for us to grow more food using less land and using different strategies for growing vertically, using aquaponics. There's so many strategies, and we need to use all the tools because, again, food is premium. We cannot live without food, and we need healthy food to live healthily. So that's the whole push, and it's critical.
Serious.
Sister
And
Aisha, Sister Aisha, as you on that
Uh-huh.
point, um, we talk about healthy food, and we talk about all the things like compost and so on. But you remember that as you pointed out, our grandparents. I know my grandfather was much into agriculture, and
Right.
they encourage, but ones to do agriculture. But nowadays, you know, our people, our young people, they they run away from agriculture, and I don't know if it's something in our in the DNA of the African, since we experienced what you call when we were kidnapped and came here as prisoners of war. Um, Somehow we run away from our agriculture, and one of the things I noticed that we fail to do is the whole idea that we need to have more collective, more cooperative ventures on the estates, on the land, because collectively we are more stronger in terms
Sure.
of being able to grow food and so
Yes.
on. And in that way, we could feed more people. I remember reading years ago that during the Chinese Revolution, um, the people who were coming back as graduates in agronomists and so on, they send them to the countryside. But they send them to the countryside to learn from those farmers who were working in the countryside as peasants and so on for years. And they knew
Yes.
how to take different crops and bring them together and what to do. And so the question was asked, they asked more, why is he taking these trained people and taking them to the countryside rather than having them stay in the urban cities? He said because they know the theory. They need to go with those experienced people now to learn
Practical.
the
practice.
practicality of
Yes.
agriculture. And these are
Yes.
some of the things that we need to know, because some of our old folks, whether it is in the South or in the Caribbean or wherever in Africa and so on, we need to know that we need to utilize those experiences. Very, very, very important.
And that's it. I want to address one thing first. You talked about the fact that we are not involved in agriculture. It's not in our DNA. It's over those hundreds of years that we were removed. We were used as slave labor as opposed to the intellectual capacity we have. And as a result of that, we removed ourselves from the industry, because who wants to be the labor for an agriculture industry when somebody else making all the money? And I think over time, we lost that affinity to agriculture. But then look at what happens. The food that we are eating is killing us. And now we
Yes.
realize that that's where the true power is, because no matter how much gold, how rich you are, no matter what you drive, how much technology, how fancy the house is, if you have to go to the man for food every time, he can kill you. That's the real power. So the truth is that he who has the food rules, the food rules, not
Haile.
he who has the gold, is he who has the food. So we have to get back to the point where we are empowering ourselves to control our food, because again, that's where the money is, food, and not just the growing the food. I think the true money in food is where you add value to the food, the products that you could put on the shelf to make it more sustainable, to extend the life of food. That's what we could export, and that's how we can trade and really make the money. So getting back to all the things we know, the sugar cake, the everything we know that we take for granted, the making the china nuts, the everything, all those things, the processing of the food, all the products from the cassava, all those things. That's what we need to do. We need to grow the food, and we need to take that food and extend the shelf life and sell that on the market. So we're selling fresh produce, and we're selling value added products too. And that's where the money is, with limited chemicals. And that's what I encourage. Another thing you mentioned is that agriculture is something you do. You don't just study agriculture. Going to college and getting a degree in agriculture does not make you an agriculturist. You really have to grow the food. So again, the farmer is the expert. And we have to recognize the farmer as the expert in agriculture and provide him with the support he needs. And marrying or combining the older farmers with the youth them, because there's certain levels of technology that our Asian farmers may not be able to understand and engage in. So we need to teach the youth them that technology and have them work with the older farmer with a level of respect for that
Yes.
knowledge he has, so they can learn from the farmer can learn from them, and we can grow together. And sometimes that takes soft skills. The young people sometimes don't have enough regard and respect for the elders. And that's where we come in and being good jegnas, where we could lead and guide them in the right direction. And again, they are inspired by capital, and agriculture produces capital. We cannot ignore that fact, you know? So
Yes.
I still have to mention that. Mhm.
We have to control the narrative around agriculture.
Yes.
And I'm honored to be working with the I on such a project, which is the ITAL standard. And we're going to have more about that in the new Roman calendar year, Ethiopia 2018. Big things are on the way. So stay tuned to the Lion Voice Network, because this is one of the items that we are really putting our stamp on, is agriculture and food sovereignty, because we realize everything else that we're doing, as Sister Aisha said, means nothing if we don't control our food. You can't fight no revolution, you can't sustain yourself, you can't talk about Zion, you can't nothing if you don't feed yourself. So we're going to be doing a lot on that topic. The third episode of our series, The Road to Heaven on Earth, is going to be coming out hopefully on New Year's Day. And that's about our journey that we made to Ghana to talk about food sovereignty. So we're going to be telling the story here on the channel. Stay tuned. I see one of our queen mothers here, Mama Ifia, said, I truly appreciate love the conversation surrounding agriculture, as it is an essential to human stability and in particular to the protection and well-being of our children. The next step is to develop, and I see the other part here, strategic approach that can attract engagement and sustain participation of our younger people. And I know Sister Aisha, that is her passion. That is my first intro to her, was her actually, no, going to her office and her telling Tafari, we need to bring young people to the Nyabingi, and then seeing her execute on that, bringing young people, and we had a whole dialogue with young people. The first I ever see that in her eyes is where the young people were able to talk, and these are the children of Rastafari for the most part, and say how they felt and what their place was. And it was that's my intro to the legend that we know as Sister Aisha. Diana Collingwood for the professional side. She's a legend in not just with Rastafari, but that was my intro. So I know the youths are her passion. Ras Sekou, do you want to ask any more questions before we just open up for some final words and dialogue?
Just want to know that what is the plan forward in terms of continue to set the example for the young people, whether it's in the Virgin Islands, whether it's in Jamaica, whether it's in Ethiopia, whether it's here in the US. What is the plan of our authors? Because authors have a very important role to play in the scheme of things, in terms of foresight, in terms of involvement, in terms of, you know, being able to bring critical thinking to the space, especially to the public space. So what is the plan going forward for these for our brilliant young and not so young, and
No,
you know, what is the plan?
No, what I think will be important for us sisters to collaborate because, we have I Love Locks, we have I Can, says Fran, we have Rakina's memoir, and we have The Boy Who Loved Plants. If our vision then is to educate all of our people, we have to start with the youth again. Because once we empower them, they would educate their parents. I think we underestimate the true power of our youth and the potential they have to make change. And I think we can position the youth them through these exposure, through education, through having them explore the environment, looking at the value of the indigenous knowledge, um, encouraging them to just realize their true potential, for excellence. And if we combine our efforts and do something like this on a global level, it will make a difference and even connect with other authors and then encourage our youth them to start writing because they have experiences that can be told. Again, we always underestimate the power of our youth and we need to utilize them and build them up, teach them financial literacy, teach them entrepreneurial skills. They can do so much at an early age if they have the right jegnas. So creating a network of jegnas globally who could be dedicated to supporting and empowering the next generation. That's how we build sustainability because it's always said that success is still failure unless we prepare our successors. And now that we are elders, I can't believe I'm an elder. Yeah. But the positive thing is you get to be first in the line in Ghana when it's time for food. That was definitely the big advantage.
Well said, Sister Aisha. Well said. So, Sister Mitzi, Sister Rakina, Sister Desta, if you all have anything to follow up on the same question, you could go forward and add that before we close up.
Yeah, give thanks, Ras Sekou. Well, I just really want to affirm so much that Sister Aisha has said, especially what she just sealed up on in relation to collaborating our mission.
Yes.
And to ensure that, we bring our experience, our wise mind to the table as elders, she said, as elders, and to ensure, that the coming generation is empowered and ready, for this mission. And yeah, it's a big role because there's so much, as I said before, there's so much that Babylon has in store for them, for all of I and I. So our awareness, our mindfulness, our presence is so important. We have to stop telling children that they're the future because we are all treading this journey in the present. We have to prepare them within this hour, holding their hands and making them courageous. And as I said, that speech by His Majesty today, we look to the future calmly, confidently, and courageously is something that I embrace and something that really helps me to stay stronger every day as a woman, as a mother, and yes, and pulling from the strength of my own ancestors. There's just something I wanted to share because my ancients, the ancient matriarchs and patriarchs that trod this journey before us and that we got the privilege and the honor of treading with, they really carry this mantra and this message and this mission of Pan-Africanism, of liberation to I and I. And we have to find new ways, just like what Mama Aisha said, liberating our people, liberating our children through agriculture, through food sovereignty, and we have to find ways. And in my book, I really paid a very special tribute by the neighbor. Fran's neighbor was actually a Rasta man. And the Rasta man was actually, and Rasta woman, Rastafari ones were the ones who really advocated for our liberation as African people. They are the ones who really reminded us of who we are and to stand firm in our integrity and in our sovereignty. So, Fran's next door neighbor, Julius Harvey, would read her books by the great Marcus Garvey, and she happily spent time at her neighbor's fence learning Mr. Garvey's speech on self confidence. And as I said, I quoted before, if you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life. With confidence, you have won even before you started. So he said to Fran, believe in yourself and never accept defeat. It's about the power of your mind, not the size of your feet. So we need to bring these lessons, these messages, these affirmations, these mantras to our children about the power that they carry within, to not let anyone diminish that, not to let even if you have special needs, not to let anyone discourage you or to accept defeat, but to let our children know, like my sister said before, that they rise to African excellence every single day in so many ways. So, I really want to just give thanks to all of my sisters who have been present on the platform here this evening, from Mama Deska, who brought us this great book about empowering our children to
Yeah.
accept themselves, love themselves, and to be themselves. Today in Kwanzaa, we celebrate the principle of Kujichagulia, which represents self-determination. How do we affirm that? How do we self-determine? How do we teach children to embrace who they are, to love their names and what it means to love who they are, to not bleach their skin, to be happy with themselves. So this mission of confidence and courage from me, and imparting that to ourselves, to each other, because it's not just the children that need that message and that affirmation. So, we're looking forward to Fran playing her role through her stories. We want to get it into the schools. We want to get it into the schools in the Caribbean. We want to share our stories with our Caribbean brothers and sisters, and as far as we can take it, but to make sure our messages are solid, to make sure they're sustainable, and to ensure that whatever our legacy is at this time, that it is a powerful, a strong one, and that our youths are benefiting from it. And I can't think of a better way to do it sometimes than through writing and placing our stories in books and making these stories be indelible, by putting them. Another thing, that one thing that I learned when I published the book first on Amazon,
Yes.
when I saw it first, I said no. I said, Sekou, the size of the book is too small, and I need to get it in hardcover. Just like what you said to
Yes.
Sister Aisha earlier,
Yes.
it helps. It's a totally different book when
Yes.
you're holding it in your hand in
Yes.
hardcover. It's
Yes.
more acceptable to libraries and that kind of thing. And we really want to get it into all of these spaces. So
For sure.
we're spreading the word and spreading the message right across. So as I said, Ras Sekou, I give thanks for the honor of being here. I'm happy to now be a published author, and for what
Yes.
that means, to continue to play a positive role within our families, our communities, and our nation on a whole.
Give thanks. And now that
Thank
you have
you.
loosed the seal on the Lion Voice Network, when are we gonna see the eye? Because Sister Mitzi, a long time I try to get her on the platform, and I feel so happy just to see the eye on the platform, because I know that they have so much to articulate. There's so many topics that we could touch. There's so much that the eye has done quietly over the years. I'm just excited about the eye getting a chance to tell the eye story, because you know, your name is one of the names we hear a lot, but many ones don't have a clue about the I or who the I is or what the I really do in the community. So I really am passionate about that, Sister Mitzi,
Well,
that
well, the time has come. He said, Rasquazi, the time has come.
time has
I'm so
come.
happy. I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm so happy to hear you mention like my sister Ifia, because,
Yes,
no matter near or far, no matter how much distance and time comes
yes.
between us, Mama Desta, the journey that we have had together
Yeah, man. Yeah,
and how
man.
we continue to strengthen each other. It's so important. I'm so honored to meet you in this way, Mama Aisha. I knew Sister Rakina from before, so
Yes.
I'm really honored, and I'm hoping now that we can go forward on this mission together, even as authors, as sisters, and to play whatever role we can play to make this nation a more powerful one. So I want to give thanks for my sisters especially,
Yeah, man.
because we are a mirror for each other, and we continue to be that light and to share that love. So
And
we give thanks.
I have an abundance of riches because I see all of the item as my big sisters. I've been so blessed coming into this Liberty through Mama Farika to meet so many dynamic and powerful sisters over the years and to maintain good relationship with all of the sisters them. I love all of the items. So it's just a joy to see the item flourishing and producing works and to introduce the item to our audience, our global audience, so that we can counteract this narrative that Rastafari people are not doing anything, that nothing is happening in Rastafari. This is so false. And I have over 1,000 videos on this channel of works of people doing works around the world and positive. There's not been one negative sound on this channel in terms of petty difference. And we're going to keep it that way because we have so much more to offer than what we disagree on, what we don't agree on, or little things that come up. Every family have their little laundry, dirty laundry, but we don't need to bring it on the front page. We deal with it and we keep on moving like every other community. And I mean, there's nothing unique about us as Rastafari people. But what we need to do is work together and to circulate our dollar. That is one thing that we're not doing enough. And that is what I want to seal up on is everyone watching this, buy these books. I mean, put aside the funds, purchase the books. Ras Sekou, our legendary elder, I'm turning it over to the eye. Any last sounds or anything that the eye want to say to seal us up?
Yeah, I want to say that at this hour, in this time, crucial time, as we go forward to a new calendar year, Babylon calendar year, we have to be very much be on our P's and be on our Q's, and we must forge ourselves together as we look forward to unite our African brothers and sisters, our Black brothers and sisters all over the world. And we must also, those of us who see the importance of the African continent, must strive to get home. For it's time we go home. It's time to go home, to build what we left so many years ago, forced to leave. So it's time we must prepare to go home. Africa awaits us. So, very, very important. We need to move with our skills. I mean, I ain't saying everybody should leave because the West, we take time and build here. We build North America, we build the Caribbean, we build Asia, we build South and Central America, wherever African people are. But those of us who see the importance of moving forward to the continent to help to build that continent so it could go back to the way it was before. that magical space, you know. Africa awaits its creators, their majesty say, you know. So we will have to prepare and to look in terms of both repatriation and reparation. And Africa, this is the time, you know, it can't be turned back. No one can turn it back. No one can turn back. Whether it's Donald Trump, Mickey Mouse, whoever.
No one.
They can't turn back the tide of time.
No.
This is a global march forward by African people, and we must set the pace. And Sister Mitzi made a point when she say we talk about the trend being the future, the trend being the future, but the trend is now. The trend is now, and we have to do whatever we can do now, and then chart the course towards the future. So all I gotta say is I'm thankful for my beautiful people, my beautiful sisters, mothers, all who took time. Brother Kwasi for giving us the platform to continue to deliberate via education. You know, our youths, you know, one cocoa for basket, they say. So we mightn't see thousands of people on the platform immediately, but the word going around, and the song. And next year, once we have life and health, we want to promote Lion Pride and Frontline across the globe as far as we could go. So we say, we want to say, Ras Kwasi, continue doing what you're doing. And all the authors, all my dear sisters, Sister Esther, Sister Mama Mitzi, Sister Akina, Sister Aisha, all of who I love in some special way, to continue doing the work that you all doing. Much love, give thanks. Their majesties are satisfied.
Give
Yes,
thanks.
I give thanks. Give
Any
thanks.
final sounds, my
Thanks.
sisters? Any final sounds?
Go ahead, Sister Aisha.
Kwasi, I just want to thank you for your tireless efforts. I see you doing that work, and it's really important work. And I'm really very excited about us coming together. And earlier someone talked about in agriculture we need cooperatives, but in general, as Rastafari together, we just need to cooperate globally and utilize the skills we have and the connections, because we have a Rastafari entity almost everywhere in the world, and we need to solidify those connections. And one final thing, Rastafari all over the world, our brethren and sisters have a lot of skills. A lot of them don't have their skills formalized. So we have to work with them to create these portfolios, to document their expertise, their skill sets. And if you don't have a degree, it may mean putting something on letterhead, documented your skill sets from this time to that time in these areas. So when you move to Africa, when we go abroad, we have some type of portfolio to demonstrate the skills as opposed to just speaking with your mouth. And that's something we have to help our brethren and sisters to do, because I think we take it for granted, but we are all so skillful. And we just need to document those skills. Education doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a PhD or a college degree. Education comes from everywhere, and our people are educated. And in some cases, we need to help them document that experience, that skill set. So, enough strength, and thanks for the strength and the great works, because that's what inspires my work. And I want to be an inspiration to others who will continue the journey too. So I give thanks.
Give thanks, and just know that it's a mutual admiration society that we have here. So the I inspire I, and I'm inspired by everyone on this panel. I'm a young adult, and the I them are all my elders. You know what I mean? So I stand on the I them foundation, and I know the I them standing on a solid foundation. Likewise, I'm going to give Sister Mitzi the final sound because I feel special to have her here. I'm not going to hide it.
I give thanks, DejKwasi, and just like what my sister said before, because give thanks for your strength and your resilience in terms of building your platform. And we're happy for these spaces that we can share our voices, share our vision, share our mission with people from all over the world. So we give thanks to all the ones who join, all the ones who were present for the time. We miss Mama Desta's presence, but we certainly
Yes,
benefit from her input earlier. So we give thanks, and as we say, we join in hands and hearts as a family, with our brothers and sisters and with our youths. We give thanks for the youths out there, especially on the continent, who are rising with loud voices.
yes,
Yes, and standing up for equal rights and justice.
yes,
Yeah, we give thanks for that. It's a great strength coming over the waters here. Is a great, great strength. As everyone knows, we just went through this hurricane, which was a great lesson,
yes,
and we're still rising from it on this plantation land here. Is a great lesson for us, and it's a great reminder that Africa calls us. So we give thanks to Ras Sekou as well for that message, because we continue to be reminded that plantation continues to be a must for I and I. So yeah, the journey continues. I will give thanks for the space, as we say. I will give thanks for each and every one who continues to give I and I the strength, and who I and I can continue to strengthen.
give
Give
thanks.
thanks to our ancestors, for our ancients who trod this journey before I and I, but held our hands, continue to hold our hands. Our matriarchs and patriarchs, we give thanks for each and every one.
Give thanks, give thanks.
I do.
I
I
missed
do.
this comment earlier. I missed this comment. There was a couple of comments I missed. Blessed Love Family writing from Kenya. I do AI animation and would love to get in touch with the Honorable Empress, author of the book, and send her a reel of I works of animation. Glorify the panel and host. So I would just tell that brethren to link Frontline Books, and send over your thing, and Raseku can get in touch with all of the authors, um, to ensure that the I is able to share, because I'm sure they'll be interested, because we know the importance of visuals and the different formats and the technology right now, what you can do with AI, and so His Majesty always embrace new technology once it's done the right way. So I don't
But,
think.
but Raspoti, very quickly, because a while ago we got so broad in our discussion with Sister
Yes,
Aisha, which was it was very informative. But I want to really come forward to her book, and
yes,
the importance of her book to our
yes,
children in
yes,
terms of developing this love for plants, the
yes,
benefit of herbs. The Caribbean, I know, is blessed with just about everything that can heal.
yes,
It's not just food, it's healing. So we have a lot of medicine that we're
yes,
walking around, and we're walking on every single day. So I walk through the yard, and I'm hoping that I can teach my granddaughter that this is so and so, this is what it is used for. So I
yes,
really want to come forward to Sister Aisha and to big her up on that, because yeah, we went very wide on the topic. But coming
yes,
forward, this book, every parent needs to really get this book into their hands for their children, and to let them know, how you can start learning about plants that are food to you, but plants that are also have healing benefits for us as a people. But that's where our medicine starts, in our plants.
yes,
As I
yes.
said, we give thanks for that.
Point well taken. She was our special guest in November, so we're not gonna let her ease up on the promotion of the book, none at all. But we like to pick our brain, because she is such a master of her craft of
Sure.
agriculture. We have a $10 super chat. Welcome to the Elder Siku and the beautiful Queen Mothers. Big up yourself, Grassroots, always supporting the channel, with the super chats. Give thanks, my brother, for always leading by example as Lion Pride on Patreon. There was a question, someone said they had a question for Ras Sekou. You have to put it in the chat very quickly. We're going to be sealing up. So if I'm this Zion, if you have a question, put it in the chat very quickly. And Rune Soup, I want to say thank you. The first time I'm noticing you in the chat, but I love your contributions to the reasoning. You say Rasta needs to link up with other rural Black communities, such as the Gullah Geechee community. I can tell you that through Habesha, through other organizations, that's already happening. We are tapped in with Black farmers across the country. There are Rasses that are there. So there are Rasses, as I say, everything that the item want to see His Majesty already have happening. It's just, as Sister Aisha said, we need to just connect more, but every something is happening. We are plugged in. The National Black Farmers Association, yes, not fully familiar, but we are working on Black food sovereignty with several different organizations, including Rastafari organizations. So we're on top of it, and we'll continue to do that. Also, February 1st, we're going to be having a webathon on the rebuild, the RMO relief, rebuild and rise effort. We're going to be raising money. The goal is 500,000 to completely redevelop and redesign our Rastafari sites. And part of that redesign is going to be food production, making sure that we have food forests, making sure that we have agricultural production and processing according to our ITA standard. That's going to be a critical part of the reimagining of the Jamaican space. So stay tuned for that. We're raising money for that. A major mapping exercise is going to be underway, taken by the RMO to start to create, gather data on the most affected areas and people, families. So stay tuned for that. But I just want to leave everyone with the knowledge that work is happening. Be a part of the solution. Don't let people, the negative people and the naysayers, discourage you or drain your energy when they come and talk about people and gossip. Always ask people, what is your solution, brethren? What are you doing to make the world a better place? Let's challenge our brethren and sisters to raise their frequency, raise their vibration, because there's so much work to do, and the workers always love company. So I'm encouraging each and every one of us to rise to our purpose, rise to our destiny. Why? Because we are the best example of what can happen when the Almighty rises a people to do His will. We are called by His name, and we will not stop. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the lion's voice.
Greetings, Rastafari, Haile, Emperor the King Selassie, the first, the perfect balance, Empress Menin. This is first man for Rastafari Indigenous Village, recognizing, accepting, promoting lion voice. Yes, the voice of Rastafari, speaking about Rastafari, educating Rastafari, preserving, protecting Rastafari. Give thanks.
Aye, Rastafari, mighty.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega, representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Blessed love, this is Ras Sekou representing for the Lion's Voice. Seeing? Yeah, man. Keep it locked right there, sir. On to Zion we go. Lion voice don't move slow, no. Rastafari rules and reigns, and we're going where the blessings flow. Keep it locked right there, so sin. Rashida said that. Lion's voice.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Greetings, this is Junior Morgan of Bob Marley and the Wailers. The time has come for the lion to tell his story. And we have here the lion voice. So listen in and get nourishment for the stomach and for the head cup. Jah Rastafari.
Give thanks.
Give thanks and praise every time.
Great honor, great honor.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
It's AWTITUDE representing for Lion's Voice. Yes, massive. This is the time for I and I, the lion them to tell I and I story, our story. Yes, and we reign and rule like this. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, I reign and rule. You can't take the lion vibes, people. If you no fool, cause we know Selassie reign and rule. Reign and rule. Selassie, I reign and rule. Queen Omega drop them in the fire, pull from them, no Queen Omega, she reign and rule. Royal Kushite, ancient essence, Emperor Selassie in a majestical presence, flash of all sevens, projecting through I and I events. We sing a song for the king, we bring joy and blessing and understanding, yeah. We hear Jah every day. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, reign and rule. Yes, I lion vibes, Selassie, reign and rule. Attitude say that. Boondocks, Black Organization of Global Diplomats optimizing expressions to the world. Till the world, till the end.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.